Welcome to another edition of the Mael Time podcast. I'm joined today again by Ilay David. His brother Evyatar has been brutally held by Hamas for now 570 days. Ilay, how are you getting out of bed in the morning?
It's a tough question. Um, every day, every day when I wake up and every day before I go to sleep, I have to manifest. Evyatar is returning, he comes home, he comes back, he will be, and it will be okay. That's like the only option I have, so it helps me to get up. And
Do you have a sense of what the plan is in terms of what Israel's doing to get your brother out as soon as possible? Do you have a idea of the negotiation strategy or the military strategy?
as it feels right now, it feels like I like everything is interpretations. Um, I think right now all the cards are on the table. Everybody knows what Hamas wants. Everybody knows what Israel wants, and it's very hard to meet in the middle. Um, Hamas wants a ceasefire, 5 years long or even more, because they want to rebuild themselves and control Gaza. And Israel won't allow it. And the hostages are in the middle. These human beings, these people who did nothing, and they are punished maybe in the worst punishment ever, being held in such hideous conditions, um, hanged between life and death every day. Um, that's the absurd here, that these people paying with their freedom, with their lives, and it's so sad. So currently, I don't think that there is a master plan. I don't think so. I think everybody are trying to think what to do next. It's like, because again, all the cards are on the table. So
Right, you're basically just throwing everything against the wall because it's things work to some extent. Yeah, the first stage of the second hostage deal, and my understanding was that the second phase really was never a serious thing from Israel's perspective because they knew that Hamas was going to try to get the end of the war, which would not be compatible with what Israel wanted. Is that your understanding as well?
exactly, exactly. I didn't think from the beginning. I didn't think we were going to second phase. Like it was clear. It was clear. And at the original agreement, they said they signed that they will start negotiating on the second deal on the 16th day of the first phase, and it didn't happen. So it was very clear from the beginning that second phase is not going to happen. They did try to make um, more more releases. They really tried to keep releasing hostages, but Hamas wouldn't allow it because they understood what the Israeli government is trying to do. And my brother, like all the other hostages, they are very important asset to them, so they try to keep them as close as they can. And
Obviously, during one of the releases, they actually brought your brother up from a tunnel to witness other people getting paraded and then released. I believe Omer Shem Tov, if I'm not mistaken. Um, can you run me through exactly what that was like when you saw that, and if any of the hostages you've spoken with were actually with your brother there?
yeah, so on stage in that day, three hostages were released. There were um, Elia Cohen, Omer Shem Tov, and Omer Wenkert. Um, a veteran guy, they are a childhood friend. Essentially, they know each other since they're one. I know Guy very well. I know his family very, very good. And they are best friends. They have the same hobbies. They do everything together. They plan to fly to Asia and travel together. Um, and I saw this video when I was sitting in, we sat at CPAC, at Washington, D.C. Guy's brother was with me, Gal. Both of us, we came to the States in order to advocate for our younger brothers. And suddenly our phone explodes. It was 2 months ago. It was February 22nd. Our phone explodes with phone calls and messages. And then we see that there is a video, both of them in the same video. And for us, it was amazing because we had no clue what is going on with Evyatar. We had no clue what happened. We had only the videos from October 7th. On October 7th, we
So
saw them.
you had never received a sign of life before that video.
No, we had some evidence, but
No
like
firm view of his face,
exactly,
no private acknowledgement that he was alive.
exactly, nothing that solid, and it was amazing. It was amazing, and not only we saw them alive, we saw both of them together. I mean, it was super amazing because they protected each other. Um, but
It's unbelievable that this is what is considered amazing now.
yeah,
That you
yeah,
see a
it's
video of your brother and his best friend pleading for their lives as
exactly.
other people are getting paraded around like
It's
animals,
it's it's
and this is
it's
amazing.
it's sick. It's sick. It's at those times of very tough times that anything gets into perspective. I mean, anything from the things I eat to the thoughts I have in my mind. Everything gets into a completely absurd perspective. And yes, seeing them in such a sick, sadistic situation, at first, I was very excited. It felt amazing to see them alive, to hear them, just hear them speak and see the look in their faces.
Did you recognize the look in their faces?
Yes, yes.
What did it tell you?
Despair and exhaustion. Um, and they were afraid. They were afraid. I mean, Hamas put the words in their mouth, but I really think that they begged. They really begged for their lives. It wasn't only Hamas words. Like they really tried to beg for their lives in that video. And I mean,
So you actually recognize some of the language that he used as being his own?
most of his body language, I see how he covers his face and how he goes back in his seat and he looks down. There's something, I mean, I will do the same. If I was in this situation, we are very similar. We have a very similar body language. So I really recognize me in him when I see him. And I think I'll do the same. And I'm trying to imagine how I will feel if I spent 500 days underground and then they sent some of my, I mean, the terrorists sent some of my friends away, and I were to force and watch them being released, and then the terrorists shut the door in my face and throw me back into the tunnel. It can get you crazy. Like it's so sick. And those people are the people that are guarding right now. They are guarding Evyatar, and they are guarding Guy, and they are guarding all the other hostages. I mean, dozens of people in that crazy, inhumane conditions with lunatic captors. And it's,
And the Red Cross was right there. Did they do
yeah,
anything?
yeah, the Red Cross. I mean, after we watched that video, we connected to Omer Wenkert, and he told us that he stand on stage in that day and he saw the Red Cross jeep right in front of him, like something like 50 feet, and right next to it was a white van, and then he see how the door opens, and he recognizes Guy, and he disbelieves at the beginning, and then he recognizes also Evyatar, and then he say, okay, that's that's for real, and he was shocked. Even
And they were right next to the Red Cross
right next
van.
to the right next to the Red
And
Cross.
the Red Cross did nothing. Did they call your family at least?
No, no, nothing, nothing. They are irrelevant at that point. The Red Cross. I mean, their hands are tied, justicely or injusticely, and I don't care. Actually, I don't care. They don't do their job. They don't do their job.
Right.
They
I
became.
was going to say their hands are not tied. They've tied their own hands
Yeah,
by
yeah. You're right.
deciding to go along with Hamas, basically. But
You're right. You're right. Yeah, yeah.
how, well, how, how do you keep going after seeing something like that and seeing the despair in your brother's face?
Um, I was broken for a couple of weeks after that video. I also heard the evidence, and the evidence are, you can't live in an illusion anymore after you
You mean
hear.
evidence of people that were with your brother?
Yeah, Omer Vankert spent 250 days with Evyatar and Guy at the same terror tunnel. They had no sunlight, very small amount of oxygen. Um, they were starved. They were dehydrated. They were forced to dig their own toilet. It was basically just a hole in the ground, which they dug to themselves, and they sleep right next to it. Um,
Are they chained?
no, they weren't chained. They weren't chained. Which, I mean,
I
we've
guess that's a
heard.
positive.
Yeah, it is. We've heard about hostages which are chained, and so again, that crazy perspective. I'm happy they are not chained, but all the other is so crazy, and they have no connection to the outside world. They don't know what is going on. They have no radio. They have no TV. Their captors, they can do whatever they want to them. They beat them once in a while or spit on them. They are like
Dogs.
even worse than dogs. Even worse than dogs.
Are they allowed? Are they even able to move at all, or they're basically staying in a very small area?
They are staying in, at least as far as we know, they stayed in 3.5 feet on a 30 feet long tunnel, and they were four men in that very narrow space. They barely stand up straight, like it's the ceiling really scratches their heads, and they don't have that much food that they can move a lot. They have no energy, and they try not to, they try to preserve the energy. They have one meal a day. Usually it's very, very small meal. And it's crazy. I mean, just thinking about that, because until February 22nd, I had the right to imagine what is going on down there. I had the right to imagine, and I built for myself a vision, a visual, how it looks like and what they do. And I thought maybe they shower once in a while, maybe they get a hot meal once in a while. Maybe they have actual beds and they are not forced to sleep on the floor.
So your vision was a lot better than what it actually is.
Yeah,
You
a
couldn't
lot.
even imagine how bad it was.
Exactly. And then hearing what they really have to endure, it broke me. It broke me. It broke my family. But Omer Vankert and Tal Shoham, the two hostages that stayed with them, they became a family to Evyatar, and they became a family to me. I have two new brothers, and to see how determined they are, because they know what is going on down there. They were there. They felt the pain. They felt the despair. They felt the uncertainty, and they fight for their brothers. They fight for my brother, and it gives me so much inspiration to know that if they don't give up and they fight because they know exactly what they need to do, then I cannot fight. I cannot lose hope as well. I cannot give up. And to know that Evyatar is surviving through all of this Holocaust-like situation, I cannot give up on his life. I mean, it only gave me more strength to do what I have to do, and it's advocating for my brother and the other hostages everywhere I can.
So what's the strategy here now? You're in the United States. What are you trying to accomplish in terms of meetings and in terms of moving the ball forward?
So, first of all, I try to meet with communities. It's, I think, the most basic level of what I do here. Meet with people, with influence, without influence, communities, mostly Jewish communities, just to keep that, keep it alive all the time, give them more reason to fight for my brother.
I just want to add something here. It is a little bit of a catch-22 because as more hostages have been released, there are fewer families, thank God, but there are fewer families that are on the circuit, as we say, all the time. So you actually see fewer people going around, which also has an effect on how things are seen, because as families have their loved ones come home, hopefully with good result, a lot of people need to heal and they have real issues going on in life, and they're not going to every single rally every single day, whereas before you had so many people. So that's something that can't be overlooked as well in terms of the importance to keep pressing on the issue.
Yeah, that's right. So if we were like military, then now we are we are just a smaller amount of people that advocates, fewer family members, but also the captivity survivors, they do as much as they can as well. And
they're doing an unbelievable job. I can't
Yeah.
believe they're even doing anything, honestly,
It's
because
amazing.
the fact that they just got out of this hell and they have the strength to go around and fight for people is truly admirable. And it's something every time I see them out there, I really can't even believe they're doing it, because it could, first of all, be triggering. Second of all, they have physical or mental things they need to deal with. And the fact that they're taking time from their rebuilding of life to actually say, no, I can't do that, I need to help, it is really inspiring.
It is. And it inspires me as an individual and also as a hostage brother. It's amazing.
What's your relationship like with Steve Witkoff right now? Are you in touch with him regularly? Is he helping?
He is helping. I met him last month, and I was so moved. I really sat down and teared, because I felt like he's the one that's gonna save my brother. Like, I really have a lot of hope.
Why
in
him?
that.
Why him?
First of all, I think he's a very good businessman, and he's also a decent, good Jewish man, and I feel connected to him somehow. Like, we have some kind of spiritual connection. Maybe it's over Judaism, maybe it's over the loss of his son. He knows what pain is. He knows what it is. And I think trying to bring back the hostages, at some level, it's like a redemption also for him. And it's a closure also for him. Do something that big, that grand to the Jewish people. I mean, it's like the Bible right now, right? It's like the Bible. This thing. It's a chapter in the Bible. So many people got kidnapped from their homes or from a festival, and they are being held by the most devilish powers on earth right now. And it's like in the Bible, and I think he feels that. He feels that.
Well, the natural question, though, or the next question to that is, of course, the Israeli government and the overwhelmingly Jewish Israeli government would want to do the same thing. So why do you think you feel a connection with Steve Witkoff, but perhaps not necessarily with every person in Knesset?
It's a good question. First of all, that's Steve Witkoff's mission. I mean, right now he has more missions, but it is one of his top priority and only missions. Now he has more, unfortunately. And for the Israeli government and the Knesset members, they have many other missions. They need to run a country, they need to run a war. So there are more interests involved. But I also think, I still believe, because I have no other choice, but I do believe that Prime Minister Netanyahu he really wants to bring back all the hostages, and not because of political reasons or something like that. I really think he wants that because he also sees the big picture. He sees it as a historic event. He sees it as he can be the savior of those people. And I think
I can't think of a more redemption or redemptive story, in the sense that he was prime minister on that day, and the idea that as many people as possible from here on out would be able to come home alive would be positive.
Exactly.
Obviously, if you're thinking just without emotion and just in terms of, is this good for his quote unquote legacy, the best thing for his legacy would be for your brother and the other 23 that are believed to be alive to come home alive.
That's right. All 59, by the way, there is a very strong core value of bringing back those who are deceased to be buried. So it's like it has to be complete. I think also from the prime minister point of view. So yes, it's redemption, and it's also he understands that we leave no man behind. It's like it's another very strong core value in Israel. Leave no man behind. So I really think that it's in his mind, and he do whatever he can. But also on the other side, there are Hamas, which are bloodthirsty terrorists that need to be demolished at the end. So it's, as you said, very, very complex.
And again, when we talk about all 59, of course, I would love all 59 to come home immediately. I'm unconvinced that Hamas knows where all of the deceased hostages even are. I also think that there are extremely serious security considerations that Benjamin Netanyahu and other members of the security apparatus need to consider. And I think that's a very different category between the living hostages and those hostages that were murdered. That's not to say that there isn't important to bring them home. I think that when you're talking about the degree in which someone's going to make a very, very big sacrifice, it has to be discussed. I don't have any answers. I just think that it's a different category.
Of course, yeah, I know.
It's a very difficult conversation because it's easy for people to have a conversation on the sidelines, but when you're actually sitting with families and you're talking about a absolutely horrendous, horrible, life-altering event, and you have to look a father and the mother in the eye and say, I'm not sure what's going on. It's very different when you're sitting in that seat versus hypothesizing on the side.
I have one thing to say about it.
Yes.
First, of course, that my brother and the living hostages, they must come home first because they can die. And They are suffering like this.
Correct.
Yeah, and I think most of the, if not all, of the deceased hostage families will agree that that should be the first priority. Bring back those who are alive because we can save them. But just try to imagine how it is to be a father or a brother, and you are not 100% sure that your son, that your loved one, is dead. And that's, I think, that's crazy. They need to see their loved one body to believe. So it also, those families,
Yeah,
they
there
are
was there
in
was
a,
actually there was an article about this that came out, I believe, in the New York Times a few months ago, and it was talking about how things happened out of sequence. And of course, you want to provide final burial for these people and peace of mind to the extent that it's possible to those families. Israel has a very big problem they're going to be grappling with for decades, in the sense that not everyone is going to have that conclusion. And it might not be the conclusion that people want or want to accept. And there's a lot of anger and frustration, as it should be. But that's a bridge that's going to be crossed whenever that happens. And I've been privately saying this for some time. I can't believe it, what's about to happen, but I it's absolutely heartbreaking. And that's not to say that you wouldn't want to bring everyone home, but this isn't like old school wars. Back 100 years ago, you'd have a ceasefire so that each side can go and retrieve bodies. That's not what we're dealing with
yeah,
here. You're dealing with savages that don't care about that.
yeah, that's right.
And it's a different reality that no person uh, in the 21st century who cares about life would ever act like that. So it's a very different conversation, and I think it's not to excuse anything by any decision by any government or any Knesset member in Israel. I'm not taking a position on that. I'm just saying that sometimes people don't necessarily consider all of these different factors, and I can understand why they don't, because it's their loved one, and it's a very, very contentious time. Of the families of the remaining hostages, how would you say the morale is as a group?
Wow, we are exhausted, exhausted. Um, After a year and a half, which at the beginning we felt it's a sprint, and we have to run the fastest, the strongest. And after I think the first deal on November 23, we understood it's going to be a marathon. Then our strategy changed. So it's a very, very long journey that we participate in. And we are exhausted, but I can tell you, I can assure you that none of us will give up, will ever give up. We are super determined, and hopefully it will end very soon. We try to manifest that all the time.
Right.
We
And I
really,
hope that every community keeps stepping up and keeps showing up and keeps helping just to talk about it, so it stays active, because like you said, it's exhausting, and you're directly involved. And it's one of those things where I get nervous that perhaps not people will move on, but that there's just so much going on. Life is
yeah,
going on, and
yeah.
it's really difficult to see how this one ends.
Yes, but you did see hostages coming back. I mean, most of the hostages, they were saved. So it's possible. And you could see not only that they are being saved, that they live after they get out of hell. They relive their lives. And it's amazing, and it's inspiring. And those who fight for the others who are still there, it's really inspiring, and gives me more force to do what I need to do we can save them. We can save all of them. It's sometimes it feels like it's impossible, but we can do it. And we have, you know what? If it's not impossible, if if it is impossible, we have to manifest like it's possible, and think about all 59 hostages coming back, and we have to do it all the time, everywhere.
Absolutely. Before I let you go here, have you spoken to Gilad Shalit?
Actually, no,
Do
no,
you know of any of the hostage families that have, or he hasn't been
I
seen?
have no idea.
I thought I recalled reading something that he had spoken to people before, but it's fascinating. Again, he had nothing to do with the deal that was made for him. He was in captivity. But it's also one of those things where I can't imagine what's going through his head. I hope the next time that we're on together, it's with your brother. That'd be amazing.
Amen.
Um, and I hope that he's out today very,
Amen.
very quickly. And if people want to figure out any events or anything like that that you're attending, what's your Instagram handle for that?
It's Bring Evyatar Home. That's the name.
We look forward to when it changes to Evyatar's home. That'll happen very soon, God willing. All right, Eli, thank you.
Thank you very much, Daniel.
Besorot Tovot.
בשורות טובות. אמן.